By the old coal mine pagoda, looking eastward to the sea, there's a Burma girl a-setting, and I know she thinks of me. For the wind is in the palm trees, and the temple bells they say, come you back, you British soldier, come you back to Mandalay, come you back to Mandalay, come you back to Mandalay, where the old flotilla lay. Can't you hear their paddles chunking from Rangoon to Mandalay? On the road to Mandalay, where the flying fishes play, and the dawn comes up like thunder out of China across the bay.
As I said, great things going on. At 11 o'clock, we'll be seeing the fire demonstration for the artillery. King Dean's name.
Now, every troop of guns had one breakback carrier, and it was used by the OP of the troop commander, and he would be.
Right guys, we thought we'd take a minute just to run through. We've got the two jungle hammocks here this year, mine and Craig's. And Craig's is an earlier example, dated April 43, and we're just going through the differences on them. So first thing is, the lines and everything, taking the hammock up to the clue here, are thicker material. Still have the bungee and everything that ties off up here, that's all pretty much the same. The loops for the spreader bars on the canopy don't have any twine to tie the loops on, they just sit in there. It's a slightly different, it's more of an olive green colour than the darker green of the later one. And inside the method of opening it is different. The zip comes halfway along and then up to make an opening in the middle. And then obviously up here is permanently closed, you can't unzip that. So if we move over to the 44 dated example over here, which is mine, late 44, you've got thinner twine running up to the clues here. Obviously still have the bungee there, and you've got little pieces tied on. The idea of these is when raindrops run down, they hit this and run down here rather than running onto the hammock, so that's obviously something that's been noted and changed. The spreader bars now have the tape goes over the end, and you then have this to tie around and secure the loop on the canopy to the spreader bars. And if we look underneath, the zip is now full length to here, right the way up, and it doesn't have the vertical section of zip in the middle here. It's just one long, all the way along opening at the bottom. So just noting some differences between the two. Obviously some things were noted as being problems, or there were slight issues with the design, and it's been modified just to show the, again, fantastic bit of kit. The Americans really came up trumps with the jungle hammock, but obviously small improvements over time. So we just thought that was interesting comparing the two when they've been erected. So there we are. And here we have some of the kit. Obviously we have the Indian-made webbing, various different setups with the Chindit packs there. You can see the K rations down in the side pockets there, and a 48 set, which is the radios that the Chindits used. So yeah, the rifle hanging up against the tree there. You can see my tripod in the background. I'll have to get rid of that. And Thompson submachine gun, obviously, Indian Dar there. So the usual Indian-made equipment that I've done some videos on my channel. So I'll link those. I'll put a card in the video so you can go and have a look at those if you're interested.
So you've got the extra pouches to the side. So you've got K rations in there. Canvas. Chaggle. So to carry the water.
Hello. Try that on. There we go. Look at that. Yeah, new photo in that thing. That's the jungle hammock in the background.
Wow.
Fire going.
You look well cool.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Wherever. Look, come on with them. Oh, excellent. There, well done. Dump it all on.
Follow me.
Say cheese. Can I have that back now? Yeah, man. Thank you. That's excellent.
Say thank you for sharing with me.
Yeah. Fresh to meet you.
I came from France like that.
Yes, yeah.
With no gun, all equipped. Nobody said something in the bus. After going to, it was on the mall. The parade was on the mall. What a big yacht.
Nice from you again. We've got the British Airborne back here. It's good. Onto the main field. More obviously Germans.
We are, aren't we? We're going to put it in a frame, aren't we? Yeah.
Bastogne on the right here. Oh, well, the guy's doing the back with the bulge.
Yes, I saw these.
It was the coldest recorded winter in 50 years. We're down to minus 50 degrees.
And then out onto the main field. Dusty, dusty, dusty. Usual, got the American armour here on the left. Again. Sherman on the move. Lovely and dry this year compared to last year, which is unheard of here. Dry and dusty. No mud.
What's that? Oh yeah.
25-pounders, the Garrison. Doing their firing displays. 3 of them here. I can get over here. A home guard display. Front here, north over projector and various other bits and pieces.
Whereas usually there's 50% sloshing about in the bottom, so
Plenty of jeeps as usual. Cosby's, I think. US Marine Corps display that's usually here on the corner. And the Germans. SS display. Seems in the wrong direction at the moment. Again, the half tracks up in the corner here, the anti-aircraft mount on the back. So I'll try and get around the other side of these because the sun's in the wrong direction. Or I'm filming in the wrong direction rather. There you go. Seen these last year, I think, in my video, the St Mary sign on and everything. Certainly got these in the footage of last year. Trash slider. Oh no, they got that one. Brands a go-go. Lots of American displays as usual. Sorry. And Canadians. Nice to see. There's a few people out and about getting ready for the battle, possibly looking at the state of the displays at the moment. King crab. And to the corner here we've got the 432s converted into Stugs, which I have to say are quite effective way of doing it. They've got a similar size chassis and everything, and the wheels are a bit big, but otherwise don't look too bad, particularly with the Schutzen on. T3485, of course. You see the rebuilds are quite effective and certainly get the look of them quite right. The rations. Plenty of stuff around, lots of SS. Americans and British up on the corner here. So I think these are all set up ready to go out onto the field for the battle. You can see the head of the line of the 25-pounders here, the other side of the Garrison here with their universal carrier and Bedford truck and everything, and the quad tractors. The 25-pounders there. I think they're doing tank driving. A little bit more up here in the corner here, American positions. 57mm anti-tank gun and so on. Tracks. Fairly busy. If you take a look back over the field, big old show, main field here. Sorry if the microphone's picking up some wind noise there. Anyway, I'm going to get back to display, dive back into the woods now, so there we are. Hi guys, so that was a quick look at the display we did at Victory Show this year, Chindits again, in the woods as usual, which is always very enjoyable. And now we'll do the usual thing, I'll run through some of the bits and pieces picked up at the weekend. Some of which were picked up at the show itself, and some of which have been picked up by a friend of mine for me, Alan, at War and Peace, and other bits and pieces as well. So the first thing to look at is a neck protector, which I've just fitted into one of my Mark 6 helmets here. Not the one it's eventually going to go into. This doesn't have the clips on for the visor, but this is as you can see, it goes in the back of the helmet there. And this provides protection for the neck when being used in anti-riot duties. And these are seen in the mid to late 1980s in Northern Ireland. So that's a nice addition to the collection. Tells a bit more of the Northern Ireland story. The equipment story, that is, that side of it anyway. Also picked up, this is still a bit damp, it's just been through the wash in fact, a temperate, a mid-90s temperate smock, combat smock, which you can see here, size 180/96. And these were made in the mid-90s, prior to Soldier 95 coming out. They still have the knocking the camera, sorry about that. Still have the button, the 4-hole buttons rather than the loop type used on Soldier 95, and they're quite distinctive in having that plus these two. There's two zip pockets on the chest next to the upper breast pockets, so that's quite a nice thing to pick up. It wasn't particularly expensive, just run it through the wash, as I say. Got a load of MBC bits, freebies that Alan was given us and was sharing out, which is always good. Another suit CB repair kit, facelet, one facelet with the head harness, and different detector paper books, which is always useful to have more of those. I think one of my haversacks is missing the 3-colour paper, so that's good. And also included in that little lot was a casualty bag, which I didn't have an example of, so it's not one of the partial bags, it's the whole bag, as you can see, a whole body bag. So I'm pleased with that. Another thing Alan picked up for me, this I think it came from War and Peace, is an Australian Army Infantry Section leading book from 1970. Little aid memoir basically, which has a lot of information in there, which I've yet to have a proper look through, but nice addition to the Australian Vietnam era collection. Piece of webbing picked up at the show. This is something I've yet to do a full video on my channel. It's an Indian made cartridge carrier. It's easy to see it's actually been blancoed on the front, but these were actually made in a jungle green colour, and this is the natural webbing colour here. You can see it's not tan, as most 1937 pattern kit is. It is in fact made in jungle green, and originally the fittings would have been blackened as well. Don't you see KEF 45? This is essentially Indian made version of, well, Indian made equivalent. It's not a version of, it's the equivalent of the 1944 pattern equipment. It was made for obviously the continuing war, which never really, well, obviously didn't continue because of the bombs being dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But the Indian equivalent to our development of 1944 pattern was to manufacture 37 pattern in jungle green, rather, you know, not needing blanco then. And with blackened fittings, which I'll do a video on the bits I have at some point in the future, because I don't think I'm going to end up with a proper set of it before, you know, in a decent amount of time. So I'll have to get a video done, and I can do another one later when I've got more of the kit together. But that's another addition there. Another thing picked up at the show is this bigger item. Let's get this into shot here. This is a trial item. It's the first version of the lightweight body armor, which is still in use today. The type that have the, you know, various different types of cover can be fitted over. The modern ones have a pocket on the chest and the back for a plate to go in. This doesn't, and it's bring this up here so you can read the label. Chelsea Quilt Company. This one hasn't had the NATO stock number written, and a friend of mine has an example where that's been written in, but it has been issued, so it does have a name on there. And I say CQC does have the filler in it, the Kevlar filler, so that was a nice pickup. And a few other bits from Alan, very kindly picked up for me. Obviously I asked him to have a look out at War and Peace for a water bottle, well, particularly the carrier, the other services carrier, leather carrier, which he found for me, and the water, including the water bottle and a new cover, because this one is split, so I'll be replacing the cover on that at some point. Another thing, Alan very kindly, these bits were bought from Alan, or very kindly donated in this instance, the straps for the Manpack carrier, the aluminium Manpack carrier frame. So those straps there. A shell dressing bag, which you can see has been converted to a general purpose, or re-stenciled as a general purpose first aid kit, which I'm going to put the contents together. These were used out in Malaya and Borneo and various other places, but in Malaya and Borneo particularly they're interesting because they were used by troops involved in the Hearts and Minds programme of, you know, providing medical assistance to local villages and things. So I'm going to try and get some contents together for this to go on displays. 1942 dated, as you can see, just re-stamped after the war, after World War II, for reuse as a first aid kit. Another item, as if I didn't have enough Indian webbing, you never have enough webbing. is an Indian-made belt. This one is actually quite nice compared to the one I have. The buckle is a bit closer to British quality of manufacture and everything. It has been blancoed, so that's a nice addition. And a final piece of webbing from Alan is a reproduction, a modified, converted pouch to the Home Guard. It's obviously a basic pouch, a 37 pattern basic pouch converted to the Home Guard Sten pouch, which will be, one of these was worn, I think on the, I don't want to guess left or right now, but anyway, one of these was worn along with the short Home Guard. They're about this sort of size Home Guard pouches, which I say I'll have to put the set together now for Home Guard equipment, late issue Home Guard equipment. So just added that to the collection as well. So a very good weekend. So I hope you found this video interesting, and until next time, bye for now.